Hello and welcome to the norming video for the 5th grade science constructed response for CA1. To get started, you will need the constructed response rubric that is found on Blackboard, and you will also want the exemplar which is found above this video on Blackboard. This constructed response asks scholars to take a look at the following question and to spend some time diving deep into it in all aspects with the hypothesis, the materials needed, and how they would display data. It's important that you take a close look at the rubric, as this will show you what would get 2 points, 1 point, or 0 points as you're looking at what scholars wrote here. Let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1 asks them to write a hypothesis. Keep in mind that a hypothesis must be written as a statement, not as a question, as the question's already given up at the top. There are a couple examples here. One is, if a bean plant is grown under a red light, then it will grow the tallest. Another example might be the plant grown under the blue light will grow the least. Either way, scholars should give a directional hypothesis that tells exactly what would help the plant grow the tallest or the least, and they should also relate it to an independent variable and a dependent variable. As you can see here, I've noted what the independent and dependent variable is. So the red light is the independent variable, and how fast the plant grows is the dependent variable. You can see on the rubric on the right-hand side that would give scholars 2 points. If they do not provide a directional hypothesis, but there's still a prediction, they would get 1 point. So the example here is, I predict the red light will affect the plant, but they don't tell you whether it'll affect it, helping it grow faster or slower. They'll get 0 points if the hypothesis is not written as a statement, if it's not appropriate, or if it doesn't make sense with the question listed above. Part 2 asks scholars to list the materials that they would need to set up this experiment. So they will need 3 or 4 different color light bulbs. They need at least one though that includes a control, so either white or a light bulb that has no color, something that shows that they understand that they'll need some kind of control group. They'll need some kind of plant seeds, water, a planting pot, soil, a measuring cup, ruler, and this last one, pencil and journal to record. They can receive credit without noting a journal, but that would be a nice to have. You can note that that would be another thing they would need in order to take notes throughout the experiment. The reason for the measuring cup is you want to make sure that scholars they understand that they need to include the same amount of water when they're watering each of the 3 plants, so that's why it's a measuring cup. If they just put like a watering can, that's fine as well. The ruler is important because they need to be able to measure plant growth, but they can show other measuring tools as well, like a meter stick or a yardstick. You see over here in the answer key, there is another exemplar written out for you. In order to receive 2 points, which is the full amount of points for this problem, they need to identify the complete set of equipment. If they identify appropriate but it's incomplete, like let's say they don't include a planting pot, they would only receive 1 point for that. And then if they don't include multiple pieces of material, then they would get 0 points, or if it's just inappropriate, the things that they listed don't make sense for the experiment. In part 3, scholars need to describe how they would carry out the experiment and how they would use the materials from part 2. This is an exemplar, but there are many different ways they could answer this question. The big thing is that they need to know how to use all the materials they listed, how to plant, how to use the different pots, that they should be using the same soil in each of the 3 pots. They need to make sure that they are including a control, so some sort of white bulb. And they need to be watering the plants once a week, measuring at some point, and continuing to measure and analyze the data at the end. This problem is worth 3 points, and the 3 main sections is that they are making measurements somehow. So you can see right here, measure each plant at the end of 1 week. They need to include some kind of control. So right here, of the different color lights, that includes one of the white light bulb. And also that they are describing how the materials will be used. So all the materials that they listed in part 2, do they include that throughout? If they describe a reasonable procedure, but it omits one of the 3 things listed here, they would receive 2 points. So if they write out everything, but they forget to mention that you need to include, you need to take measurements every week, they would only get 2 points for that. And then 1 point would be describing a reasonable procedure that omits 2 of the following. So maybe they omit how to take measures, and they also don't note anything about a control group, but they do describe how the materials will be used. That would be 1 point. And then if the procedure is just not reasonable for the question, then they would receive 0 points. Part 4 asks them how they would collect their data. As you can see here, Part 4 asks them how they would collect data and what kind of table they would use. They don't need to fill in anything, but if they do, that's okay too. This question is worth a total of 3 points. The easiest way is they sketch some sort of table that includes all the aspects of the procedure listed above. So above where we said measure each plant at the end of 1 week, you can see at the end of 1 week, there is a spot to include measurements. To receive 3 full points, they need to include the three things that are starred here: a title, proper headings, and some kind of units of measurement. So we know whether they're measuring in inches, centimeters, etc. If they omit one of them, such as the units, they do not include, but they do have titles and headings, they would receive 2 points. And if they omit 2 things, let's say the units of measurement and the headings, but they do include a title, they receive 1 point. Or if the sketch is inappropriate or they don't sketch anything at all, they would receive 0 points for that. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to your campus leadership team, you can talk to your grade level team, or you can reach out to the CTL or your curriculum coordinator. Thank you.